Upon finishing episode 7 of Andor, there's something that just stuck with me, and it has to do with its soundtrack. On multiple instances throughout the first half of the season, it's become a highlight, and for the first time in a long time, Star Wars feels exciting. And perhaps Andor's composer, Nicholas Britell, may have something to do with that. We all know the iconic Star Wars themes composed by John Williams. They're incredibly memorable and ingrained into pop culture. However, it all sounds very familiar and nostalgic. But while that's not necessarily a bad thing, as with all things, there does eventually come a time to move forward, to create new. If we were to continuously look at the past and give power to nostalgia, what is it that we're saying about the present? Is recreating and attempting to recapture something from the past truly innovative? This is what I feel the underlying problem is with modern Star Wars. It's so heavily drenched in nostalgia. It spends so much time looking back on what was and not getting us excited for anything new. Through watching Light and Magic, the documentary series on Disney+, it's clear that when creating Star Wars, George Lucas wanted to make something revolutionary that no one had ever seen before. And he achieved this through innovation. He not only pushed the limits of what was possible in storytelling, but he also founded ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, a visual effects company and the first of its kind. ILM's original purpose was to work solely on Star Wars, but it would eventually expand beyond that and go on to pioneer CGI. So Star Wars DNA has always been about pushing the art form, and when the original trilogy was released in the late 70s to 80s, it was a decade defined by looking to the future and dreaming big. It was a truly innocent and inspired time of expression. This decade would go on to become highly influential in the development of technology, music, and film. The 80s specifically is often depicted through its neon aesthetic and still feels somehow futuristic even today. And here lies the brilliance of Andor's soundtrack. In the words of Andor's composer, Nicholas Britell, it's something new, and the music is hopefully providing a sense of that learning and discovery as well. This perfectly encapsulates why Andor and its soundtrack is so compelling. Star Wars, much like the 70s to 80s, was always about discovery, learning, and creativity. And Andor's soundtrack is all these things. It's experimental, and it feels different, unfamiliar, and less Star Wars-like. That doesn't mean it's any less valid. In fact, it's more in line with the original values of what Star Wars was created upon. Just as stories and remakes evolve over time, why should the sound of Star Wars be any different? And Andor does just this. It's grittier to reflect the times, and it's forming a new path, one with limitless and exciting possibilities. Britell's music is powerful, it's haunting, and crying out with emotion, with passion. It's dystopian, with a glimmer of something hopeful. And this carries through into Andor in its entirety. It's a show willing to take a risk and be its own thing, and it thrives in not being bound to the constraints of the past. It still, of course, feels like Star Wars, but this is a new Star Wars, and one that I hope to see more from.